mind, that exists from its own side, that it has nothing to do with mind. This is how, when you look at this flower, how does it appear to you? It appears as well like it depends on your mind, or it's independent from mind. How does it appear to you? Tell me.
Depends on our mind.
No.
It appears like that?
It appears like, no, it appears like a flower.
It's existing objectively.
What do you remember existing objective? This is my main question.
From its own side.
From its own side. Meaning, what do you mean from its own side? Not from our mind. Good. From its own side means not from our mind. Which means not from our mind means it appears as independent from our mind. Getting it? Okay. Now how do we, this belief that it exists independent from mind is known as self-grasping, ignorance. Grasping at the flower to be objectively existent or existing objectively from its own self-grasping. How do you know that this is not true now? This is question. For that,
because you
no. For this we have to learn this essential number 2, essential number 3, essential number 4. Did I teach you essential number 2, 3, 4?
Not yet.
Huh?
Not yet.
Not yet. You're getting it? Not yet done. Okay. Okay. Now, okay, imagine, let's say, this is very important. Let's say that when was Chodhiji? Chodhiji, the first turning of the wheel of Dharma day.
4 days ago.
4 days ago, which is 16?
Yes.
Okay, let's say 16. Let's say that today is 16 July. Let's say today is 16 July. 16 July, which is a very auspicious day when the Buddha Shakyamuni first turned the wheel of Dharma, right? First give the teaching. So, for us, we have to celebrate it, right? And then in Kippur's Bodhicitta, we want to celebrate it. But so for that, we came up with the idea to have a big picture of the Buddha. Big picture of the Buddha. But original picture that we have is 1 inch by 1 inch. Very small. And we want this picture developed huge size. 20 feet by 20 feet. Okay, so the original picture is just 1 inch by 1 inch. And 1 inch by 1 inch, this picture is made of dots. Do you know this? How many of you know that?
What?
The pictures. The pictures, they are made of dots.
Pixels.
They are different versions. One technology is the pixels. Pixels. Another technology is the dots. Right? Nowadays it's mostly pixels. In the earlier times, these are the dots. Say 1 inch by 1 inch picture. To see that as a picture, you need, on average, we need about like 40,000 dots. 40,000 dots. 40,000 dots, this is known as 200 dpi. dpi, dots per inch. dp, 200 dots length, 200 dots width. Right? 200 is 40,000 dots. So we need 40,000 dots to make a small picture with 1 inch by 1 inch picture of the Buddha. Okay, now that is the original picture that we have, and this is only choice, and we don't have time to look for the better pictures. So we developed this, right? The Easy Cloud take this small picture to the Tel Aviv and develop a huge one, 20 feet by 20 feet, big one. So what happens? When this tiny picture is blown up to 25, 20 feet, what happens? The dots, they become visible. You agree?
Sure.
When the picture, with the pixels, when you blow up the picture, the pixels become more visible. You agree with me?
Then we say it's grainy.
Huh?
We say it's grainy.
It's raining.
Grain, like grain. We call it graining.
It's
We
graining.
look at a photo and we see the dots, we say it's graining.
Graining. Okay, let's say the 1 inch by 1 inch, we blow this to 20 feet, 20 feet, then it's visibly graining. Right? Visibly graining. Okay, which means you see the dots. And the person who developed this picture was very creative. These dots he made into the dots of the demon spaces. Right? Now how many demon spaces are there? 40,000 demon faces are there. You getting it? If you're too close, you will see the dots, you will not see the Buddha picture. If you're too close, you see the 40,000 demon spaces. And from distance, you will see the Buddha picture. You getting it? Okay, now say the people who are coming for the next retreat, right? They're coming and we are about to leave, right? And we are sitting next to the Buddha picture, this frame picture. We are seeing what? We are seeing 40,000 demon spaces, devil spaces. And the people who are coming from towards this kibbutz, out of kibbutz from there, like 1 kilometer, they see a beautiful picture of the Buddha from distance, right? The moment they see this picture, they say, Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. And people here, right? They are saying, what did Izzy do? He brought the demon faces, right? Where's the Buddha picture? Right? People here, they're complaining, they're cursing, what is this demon faces? And people from distance 1 kilometer away, they are reciting Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Who is correct? You are seeing this as the demon spaces, and people there from distance, they see the Buddha picture. Who's correct? Both are correct.
Yeah, because it's a different perspective, and from different perspectives you get different objects.
Very good. So we see that both are correct. Demon face is also there, Buddha picture is also there. But why from the distance you don't see the demon faces? Why from the close by you don't see the Buddha picture? You're getting it? Okay, don't forget this. Now.
Exactly like the microscope.
Exactly, very good. Now you're getting it. Wow, it's amazing. Just we started for essentials and you already got emptiness. Wow, it's amazing. Very good. Okay, now look at this flower, right? Okay, do you remember ultimate analysis and conventional analysis with respect to the flower? You remember that? What is that conventional analysis with respect to the flower? Conventional analysis. I'm not asking what is seen by the conventional analysis. This is not my question. My question, what is that conventional analysis?
It's the question what it is.
No, the naked eyes. Your naked eyes looking at this is the conventional analysis. What is the ultimate analysis? The microscope. Looking at from the electron microscope, that is the ultimate analysis. You're getting likewise. So when you look at the same picture, same screen, from nearby, you don't see the Buddha picture. Buddha picture disappears. From distance, you see the Buddha picture. So the mind which sees the screen from distance, that mind is what? Ultimate analysis or conventional analysis? The mind which sees the Buddha picture from distance. That's conventional analysis, ultimate analysis.
Conventional, when you close is ultimate.
Very good. From distance, when you look at it, you see the Buddha picture, that is the conventional analysis. If you come too close, then you see the demon faces, that is the... where's the Buddha picture? It disappears. What is that? Ultimate analysis, conventional analysis? Ultimate analysis. Okay, now don't forget this. Okay. Once more. Look at this. What is this? Flower. Don't forget this. Okay, how does this flower appear to you? Objectively real or subjectively real? How does this appear to you? Objectively real. And then do we believe in this or not?
Yes.
Yes, for the time being we believe in this because I have no clue how it is empty of objective existence. If you believe in this, then I'm saying if you believe in this, this belief is known as self-grasping ignorance. Now what is your question? How can you know that this is ignorance? How do you know that this is not valid mind? Okay, my question. Did you follow the question? What's the question? How do you know that seeing this flower is objectively real is not a valid mind? How do you know this? How can we say that this is ignorance? Okay, wait. How can you say that this is ignorance? This is a question. You getting it? Okay, don't forget this question. This question is very important. What's the question? How do you know that seeing this flower is objectively real? This is mistaken. How do you know this? This is your question. You getting it?
We begin to discussion.
Very good. Okay. Now, how do we know this? Don't forget what Aranyagarbjuna said. Don't forget what Aranyagarbjuna said. In the Precious Garland, the book, in his book Precious Garland, what he said. If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? Okay, let us all say this together 3 times.
What is the second word?
If the mirage, okay, first let me say this, and then we'll say this together later on. If the mirage were to be water, were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? Right? Okay, let us say this again 3 times, because after tomorrow when we close the retreat, right? Then again you may say that we don't hear this, right? Okay, so then you don't blame me. Okay, we'll say this together. In front of, at least you will have a sense. Tomorrow when I ask you a question, if you don't know this, at least you have a sense of regret. Yes, we heard it. Right?
If we don't
You also
remember,
said
we
it.
make it. If we don't remember, we make the same repeat again.
Yeah, we'll repeat it again. Right? It will not go. Right? We'll repeat over and over again. Okay, let's say this again 3 times. If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? Okay, we said it now 3 times, right? Okay. Imagine that you are 1 kilometer away from me. Imagine that you are 1 kilometer away from me and you are seeing me in water. Right? Okay, how can you? He does not know how to swim. Right? How come that he is in water? Right? Okay, you want to verify whether what you are seeing is water or mirage. You are 1 kilometer away from me and you are seeing me in water. Okay, how can you verify that whether what you are seeing is water or is mirage? How can you verify that?
You run closer.
You come closer. Very good. If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? You getting it? To verify whether what you're seeing is water or mirage, you have to come closer towards from where you are seeing the object, the water or the mirage. Coming closer and it's dry, there's nothing really there. What is your conclusion? What I earlier saw as water was mirage. Wrong, and it's mirage. You're getting it? Likewise, now you apply the same reasoning to this flower. If this flower were to exist objectively, why not I see this flower as I go closer to this object? You getting it? Let us say this again. If this flower were to exist objectively, why don't I see this flower as I grow closer towards the object? 2 more times. If this flower were to exist objectively, why don't I see this flower as I go closer towards the object? Finally, if this flower were to exist objectively, why don't I see this flower as I go closer towards the object? Okay, now let us go closer to this object. Go closer to this object. Okay, say what you are seeing is the Buddha picture from 1 kilometer away. If what I'm seeing, the Buddha picture is from the object, why don't I see this Buddha picture as I go closer towards the object? You getting it? Now, from 1 kilometer away, you're coming closer to the object. What's the object? The screen. Big screen with which the Isaac brought it from Tel Aviv, right? And coming closer to the object, you end up seeing what?
Demons.
40,000 demons' faces. Where's the Buddha image? It disappeared. You getting it? Now you have come to which is closer? You are now next to the 3 feet away from the screen or 1 kilometer away from the screen, which is closer to the object?
3 feet away.
3 feet away from the screen. Now it's much closer than when you were 1 kilometer away, right? So from here we see that the Buddha image disappeared. Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay, now if the Buddha image existed objectively from the object, the way you see before, if that were true, now you should come in closer to the object, you should be able to see this, you don't see this anymore. Which means that you have concluded that you have, what you've seen earlier as water, is not there. You concluded that what you earlier saw was not water, it was a mirage. Likewise, what you earlier saw as a Buddha picture objectively, now you come close to the object, you see Buddha image disappeared. So the Buddha image that you saw earlier is not from the object, it's from your mind. You're getting what you earlier saw as a water was coming from your mind, not from the object. Right? Okay. Now, yes, sure.
I'm a little bit confused. I want to go a few steps before.
Yes, yes.
When we say, let's say in the science language, something exists objectively, we mean not depending on our mind, but it can have parts.
Yes.
So when you say things don't exist objectively, you mean also they cannot have parts?
Okay, this is a good question.
I'm getting confused about the parts and the causes and conditions if they are parts.
Okay, very good question. The question is, in science, we speak about things not existing objectively, is what it's...
If this is an objective thing, it does not depend on me at all, but it has parts.
Okay, if not depend on the mind,
Yes.
it depends on the
But
parts.
it has
Very good. Very good question. Okay, so it doesn't depend on the mind. It is objectively real. How? Because it depends on the parts. Likewise, the Buddha picture, it doesn't depend on the mind. It depends on the dimensional spaces as the parts. Right? So therefore, still it can be objective.
I
Still,
want to go back to the flower.
yes, flower. No, the Shosh doesn't want to accumulate negative karma. Okay, let's apply the flower. We say the flower, you say it's a flower.
Objectively flower, but it
Object
has
is a
parts.
flower, but it's the parts. Because we said that 3 levels depend on the origination.
Yes.
Second one, that it has parts. So therefore it depends on parts. Why should it be dependent on the mind?
And it's still a flower. Flower
It's still a
has
flower.
parts.
Yes. Okay. Okay. These questions that come to your mind. Never ever suppress these questions. These questions are extremely important. You getting it? Unless these questions are resolved, we will never get what emptiness is. These questions are very important. You getting it? So the argument is that, not really argument, the question is that the flower, although it does not exist, although the flower disappears, going closer there, but the parts are there, right? Parts, still, by dependence on the parts, the flower comes into existence. Why should it depend on the mind? So therefore, it still exists objectively. This is an amazingly good question. You getting it? This is an amazing good question. Okay, so this actually...
Nothing can be exist without the mind. So how can it become a flower with parts if it's from where?
Okay.
אם אתה מצרף כל המצרפים שלו,
Okay, so the point is...
מהמים אתה מסתכל, אתה רואה את זה שלם ובחלקים.
Okay, the point is that, say, our propensities means our dispositions, our thinking, we brought our thinking from where? Child is not a child. A toddler is not a toddler. You're getting it? We brought our thinking from the past lives. From the past, or what kind of past we never know. Right? What kind of background we came from, we never know in the past lives. Now we can have different questions coming up. Right? So what is very important is acknowledge. First, what's coming from Shosh, just try to understand, what she's thinking. And what is coming from the Isaac, right? Just see, what is the thought process going there in his mind. So that we have to understand. We understand so well and try to give the answer. try to give the answer if possible. When you give the answer, right? If I give the answer to Shosh, finally Shosh should be happy. Not that the answer is correct. If the answer is correct, she may not be happy. That how I know that what her thinking is can be very clearly known if I give the answer and she says, yes, now I got it. If she says this, which means that I've understood what she's saying. Likewise, I give the answer to, say, the Isaac, and then he says, yes, I got it, which means that you got him correctly and then you're giving the correct answer. You getting it? This is very important. Okay, so for the question raised by the Shosh and what is accepted as a response is the answer given. Answer was already given by Nagarjuna, right? I think 1,000 years ago, more than 1,000 years ago, 1st century AD. How many years ago?
Yes.
Fourth,
Almost 1,000.
1,000, 2,000.
which century? Which century?
First century
Ah,
First,
Almost
2000.
AD. 2,000, not just 1,000.
2000.
Okay, 2,000, right? So since 2,000 ago, Nagarjuna came to know that 2018, after 2,000 years, there's going to be one girl known as Shosh.
So
Right?
somebody else asked this question before.
No. He
Was
knew.
Shosh? Oh, okay.
He knew from his clairvoyance that after 2000, precisely 2018, there's going to be one girl coming in Israel. Her name is going to be Shosh, and she will ask this question. I must give the answer now. Otherwise, that time I would not be available. So he gave the answer and then he left. Right? So that's the way he gave the answer. Right? Okay, he gave the answer already. For you, Shosh, don't worry. Okay, the answer he gave is... okay, let us turn to page 218. Page 218. Okay, before we read this, first let me explain what the Nagarjuna taught. Right? First, let me explain before we read this. Okay, first, what he said is that this flower, he explained it on the basis of the self, the person, not on the flower, but we have to extrapolate this, extend this to the flower. So what is that? Is that with the flower, is that the flower is just what coming from your mind, depending on the mind, because as you go closer to the object, you just see the parts. The flower disappears, right? So the question is, but the parts are there. Because the parts are there, right? Parts are there, collection of the parts give rise to the flower. So the parts, their meaning from the object. So the flower also coming from the object, because from where the parts come, the flower also comes from there. The parts come from the object, but the flower disappears, but the parts are there. Parts come from the object, the flower also should come from the object, so the flower is still objectively real. Then the Nagarjuna says, not only the flower, even the parts also will disappear. Right? The parts are also made of its own parts. You keep going like this, you will never be able to pinpoint to one object and say that this is the one which doesn't disappear. You cannot say. You cannot find any object. Not even an atom.
Yeah, it's physics.
Not even an atom. Even the atom, you will say that it disappears when it comes to the electrons, protons, neutrons. And electrons, protons, if you go into the energy, from the energy, you see that even this is made of multiple energies. So you see that you cannot really pinpoint to any object, any tiny sort of particle, pick this up and say that this is something which will never disappear. We cannot say this. So it only exists by the power of what comes to your mind. Okay, with this mind, how Nagarjuna dealt with is that the self. We did the meditation and emptiness of the self yesterday. The self, what we see as the self, this self is made of 6 elements. What are 6 elements? Element earth, water, fire, air,
space. Space.
and consciousness, 6 elements, right? We are nothing but made of the 6 elements, that's it. Now, if you split this self into 6 elements, none of the 6 elements is the person. None of the 6 elements is the person, right? Wow, this is amazing. There's one video clip of a person undergoing surgery. What Nagarjuna said, you can see very clearly there. I think the person's a girl, maybe in 20s or maybe 30s. A girl, of course, you know. Of course, there's a tremendous sense of self-conscious, you know. I should look nice, all these things are there. And she was going through surgery. There may be some problem, tumor, somewhere inside your, right? And then what happens? It's all visible there in the video, right? So what happens is that you have to split the face to get to that place, remove the tumor. So what happened? First the surgery was done. Surgery means cutting was done like this, and remove this. Then with the what is that? Which cuts the wood?
Scissor? No.
No.
Saw.
Huh?
So.
Saw.
It's
It's
difficult.
difficult to hear it, and it's probably more difficult to watch it.
Yes. So this is how, if it is difficult, yes, it's very difficult. Difficult means how we cling to the objective existence of the person, identity of the person. You getting it?
You can see also when you can look at the man that is dying.
Okay, first listen to this part. Then okay, you want to listen? Not listen.
Yes. Yes.
Not listen.
Yes. Okay. Yes, listen.
Interesting, very interesting.
Okay, those who find it overwhelming, just close your ears, right? Block your ears. Then with the saw, the jaw was split into 2. Lower jaw, upper jaw split into 2, and then like a small flesh put out. The person disappeared. That this is a girl. Identity disappeared. It's something. So we see that objectively nothing's really there. What I earlier saw as a girl there is just illusion. Right? So now it's not just that girl. It's me saying, you see me as Dorji with this physical form, right? You do the same thing. Dorji will disappear. You getting it? Okay. This is how, when you have a sense of fear coming, this is an incredibly precious experience. If there's a fear coming, this fear is all created by the misconception of the self to be objectively real. So now when you see this happening, you are discovering the reality that objectively nothing is there as a self. You're discovering this. So there's a clash between the two concepts. Early belief that the person, the self exists objectively. Now you're discovering that objectively there's nothing there. So these thoughts come in the form of clash. They used to clash. When they clash, it's like waging war between the two armies. Right? With the war, both sides are going to have pain. It's not that, right? One side is going to have a total victory. No. At least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 soldiers going to die from even the victory side. Right? So therefore you will feel that clash in the form of mental pain. When that's happening, this is a very good indication that you have a chance to experience what emptiness is. This is a very precious experience, right? Okay. So therefore, initial experience of emptiness, with this meditation, it is said that you will have a tinge of a fear coming. And in some cases, I would say that of those people who first get a glimpse of emptiness, of those people, very likely 60-70% of the people will have a tinge of a fear coming, experience of fear. And then maybe about, say, like 5 10% of the people will have an incredible peace, incredible sense of tranquility and calmness coming. And it may be in another